Good evening. Would you stand with me for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please? Joe, if you'd lead us in prayer, please.
Sure, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here this evening. And we pray that the council and the mayor will do their work tonight to serve Vienna. Be with each and every person that's here this evening. Be with the ones that are sick that couldn't be.
You good? I'd like to call to order this regular session of the Vienna City Council for October the 28th, 2021. Let the record reflect that I've taken roll that all members of council are present, having a quorum. We will proceed. The first item on our agenda this evening is our public forum. We have one person that signed up to speak this evening, so Brenda Powell.
Good evening. I appreciate being able to speak this evening. My name is Brenda Powell, and I live at 1409 31st Street here in Vienna.
Happy birthday, Brenda.
Oh, well, thank you. I wanted to just go over the resolutions, just highlighting over them. Basically, as far as different things that has arose there, the first one is, I'm assuming, which assuming isn't a good thing, but assuming that $10,000 going towards the house study is going to be coming out of the CDBG possibly money, or of the grant money that the city has received, or the ARP, I'm not sure which. But, it's something to think about. I also, have a concern, which a lot of residents do here within the city, of where rental property, can be for housing, different things that goes along with that. And I'm sure that maybe we'll hear more about it. The other thing is with the next two resolutions that are here, the first one, or the second one actually, talks about real estate property for a storm line replacement. My issue with this is that there is a 5-year plan with the utility board, but yet it's not on the website for the city. It's not available to the people. And it would be good to have that so that people can be made aware of what plans are being made within the city and where the money is being spent. So that is something that I would think would be nice to have. The other thing is about requiring the mask, the third resolution. I was really upset at the last council meeting regarding masks and vaccinations, and the fact that giving incentive money to the employees to get their vaccinations to get $1,000. There's nothing wrong with that in a way to give incentives, but the problem is that we've got this resolution here that when we're coming to these meetings, we're going to be expected to wear masks. I don't have a problem wearing the masks. I wore them all along for the past 2 years when I'm out in public. And the situation is that it's not, I don't understand why that the public is going to be asked to wear them during the meetings, but yet the employees are not asked to wear them. And if they are out of their 6-month protection and they don't get a booster, there's still the possibility that they can become sick. So I just think it's a concern all the way around. I appreciate the fact of it is that Councilwoman Williams actually voted against this for the employees in regards to, tabling it. It was going to be tabled and she voted against it. It should have been tabled and gone over a little bit longer to be able to find out what would be the best solution and how to do this. But employees should have been wearing masks all along in order to protect one another. But I just wanted to bring that up, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
The minutes from the council meeting held on October the 14th, 2021 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, then the minutes will stand approved as posted. We have no unfinished business this evening, so we'll move into new business. Well, the treasurer's report will be given at the first regular meeting of the month. We move on to new business this evening. The first resolution we have is a resolution dedicating $10,000 in pursuit of a housing study in conjunction with Wood County and the city of Parkersburg. This afternoon, I received the 4 pages that you all have in front of you from Ryan Barber with the city of Parkersburg. He and Lindsay Pearsall, the director of the Wood County Economic Development Authority, are working on this. And what this is they're trying to fund a study to get outside developers to come in and develop housing in the Wood County area. There are several projects that are being worked on at the county level that if they bring the number of employees in that they anticipate that there is a shortage of housing, both homes and, rental properties. And so they are looking to do a study. You can read the information here. The county has committed $25,000 to this project, and the city of Parkersburg has committed $25,000 to this, both the city of Vienna and Wood County. We have several areas out on Rosemar Road that could be developed. There's an incredible amount of property between Boaz and Williamstown that could be developed as other areas in the county. It's always been my belief that anything that benefits the county benefits the city of Vienna. The 5 cities that are here, when I say here, it's Parkersburg, Williamstown, Vienna, Belpre, and Marietta. And they're going to reach out to Washington County to see if they can get those cities to contribute as well. But anything that brings people to our area benefits us all. And so this is one of those projects that as a partner with the other municipalities and the county, that I would encourage us to commit. And what I would say to this is the resolution dedicating $10,000. It could be less than that. It depends on what study they go with. But if we were a partner in this, then we would be willing to contribute up to $10,000 in this endeavor. So I'll read the resolution and then we'll discuss it. This is a resolution dedicating $10,000 in pursuit of a housing study in conjunction with Wood County and the city of Parkersburg. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that in recognition of the local housing shortage and to encourage individuals to return home to the Mid-Ohio Valley to work and live, the City of Vienna desires to work with the City of Parkersburg and the Wood County Commission to help develop a plan of action, in part through the implementation of a housing study to encourage developers from metropolitan areas such as Columbus, Dayton, and/or Cleveland, Ohio, to build in our area. To help with this process, the City of Parkersburg and the Wood County Commission have committed $50,000 to facilitate this project. The City of Vienna hereby dedicates $10,000 in the furtherance of this action. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution dedicating $10,000 in pursuit of a housing study in conjunction with Wood County and the City of Parkersburg.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Is there any discussion?
Yes, if you would please. And just looking over this from what I see, and I'm just out of curiosity, is there a time frame for this study to be done? Because oftentimes we see things and they're kind of open-ended and they just kind of go on and on and on. So has there been any consideration or discussion on that, Mayor?
Well, I know they're trying to get it started immediately, Roger, because no matter what happens, these homes will not be built overnight. It's going to take a while to get this done. I know that right now there's a shortage of houses in the area, and so that's causing some problems of people not being able to come. But as far as a deadline on the study, I don't believe they've established a deadline,
Okay,
simply because they haven't had a commitment from everybody to participate
I
yet.
understand. Thank you.
Where's the $10,000 coming out of that we're contributing?
We would take it out of contingency, I'm assuming, but and that would be entirely up to us. Capital Reserve it could do, but anyway, Mrs. Roberts will give us guidance on that, but my guess is it would be contingency.
I had a couple questions, and I wish Ryan Barber or Lindsay Pearsall were here. I've asked all week for some details about this. I think it's an interesting idea, not necessarily opposed to a housing study. But I walked into the room 10 minutes before the meeting started, and I got on my desk 4 pages of stuff I don't have time to read effectively to make a decision. While I understand that the resolution says that there is a shortage of housing, while that may be true, Parkersburg did a comprehensive plan. And in their comprehensive plan, they identified that there is a 13% vacancy rate in the city of Parkersburg. In our region, there is an 11% vacancy rate. So maybe it's not the right kind of housing that we need. I think that's part of a bigger discussion. Once again, for me, I can appreciate that, we are all in this together in the Middle Ohio Valley, and what happens in the county will affect us. But for me, my default position is always going to be Vienna first. And I feel like if we're going to spend $10,000 to do a study, then maybe we should do a comprehensive plan to identify what our needs are in Vienna. So it's unfortunate that, we weren't given time to prepare for this question. At least for me, I'm not prepared to do it. And so therefore, I'm not going to support this resolution. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Tom.
As to the vacancy rate, if you look in the paper, there's never any houses for rent. And I read someplace where there are more real estate agents in the United States than there are houses for sale. So how would you like to be in that business? But I think there's a legitimate need for housing. And I think it's scarce.
Well, I can tell you a story that was told to me the other night from a real estate agent here in town. They listed a house for sale on Monday. By Tuesday, they had 9 offers on the house, and it sold for $50,000 over the asking price. Okay? And that was right here. Now, there just aren't a lot of homes for sale. And it's just, we're not getting, we don't want to lose any more population, and we have to have somewhere for these people to live when they move here in order to entice them to come to our area.
There are bidding wars for houses.
Oh, yeah.
I have 2 things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a number of rental houses, and everything I have but one is in Vienna, because this is a great community I believe in. And whenever I have a house go vacant, it's filled within a week or 10 days. Just as soon as you can get people in and show it to them and so on. Second thing is what you mentioned about, the expansion, for example, north from here to Williamstown. And we see the development coming this way from Williamstown. And I think there's opportunity there. So, I understand Kim's concern about not enough time, and I did look this over quickly before we came in, but I think that a commitment of $10,000 by the city of Vienna in conjunction with money that's already been pledged by Parkersburg and Wood County to get this started is not a big risk for the city of Vienna, and I'm in support of it.
I think if we were to try to do this on our own, we would have way more than $10,000
No question.
in it, as opposed to doing it in conjunction with the overall county.
I do want to add one other thing to that. It does kind of get my back up a little bit when we start talking about trying to have something to market to out-of-state developers. Once again, my default position is always going to be like local. I don't understand why this is part of the resolution. I'm sure there's companies here in West Virginia that we can be pitching to. So just all the way around, I wish we would have had more time to tease out some of these questions.
Yeah, and what type of housing? Are we talking about just rental property? Are we talking about apartments? Are we talking about full family housing? And who is that housing for? You were talking about people coming to the area
It's for,
Who is
it's
that for?
all types of housing, and it's for anyone that would want a new home or someplace to rent. It's not exclusive for homes or apartments or townhouses or whatever. It's everything across the board. And I know from working with the Development Authority that simply because they listed the cities in Ohio does not mean that a developer out of Charleston, West Virginia, or Huntington, or over in the Eastern Panhandle, anyone would be welcome to come if the land was available. So it's not simply to be reaching out to these Ohio or Virginia or whatever cities. It's all inclusive of anyone that builds. I mean, I personally would be thrilled to death if Joe Pope, and I've talked to Joe Pope about this, would come in and build a big development in Vienna. Okay. And so, Joe's one of the developers that does build in our area. And so, those are the kind of people Joe does a fantastic job, and would love to see him come to Vienna and build something. All right.
I saw a pretty good clip on television not too long ago. I believe there's a city in Indiana that they are putting out an incentive of $5,000 to family just to get them to move to their community, and they're really marketing the community really well, and they've got more takers than they can handle at this point. It's pretty interesting.
All right. So any more further discussion? I'll call for the question then. All in favor of the resolution dedicating $10,000 in pursuit of a housing study in conjunction with Wood County and the city of Parkersburg, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-1. So we move to the second resolution this evening, and I'm going to read this resolution and then I'll explain it. This is a resolution accepting a donation of real property, 3 rights of way for a storm line replacement at 1609, 1611, and 1613 Greenmont Hills Drive in Vienna, West Virginia. Be it resolved by the city of Vienna that it hereby accepts 3 rights of way for the purposes of replacing, installing, and maintaining a storm line over and across 3 parcels of property belonging to Deborah Rhodes, Dr. Robert and Cynthia Flagg, and Dr. John J. Koch. Further, the mayor and the city attorney are hereby authorized to take any steps as are reasonably necessary, including executing necessary documents to complete this donation. So before I show you the pictures, I'd like to explain that this is not part of the 5-year plan. There are times when things happen that you have to deal with, and this is a routine maintenance of a replacement of a plastic stormwater pipe. The 3 addresses that are listed there are the 3 homes that it goes behind. When they built that part of the addition, there was a ravine behind that house. The developer took a culvert and laid it in the ravine and then covered it with dirt. Over the years, the culvert has collapsed. This is an actual picture of the culvert itself. Okay. If you can see this area right here, that is an actual seam in the top of that culvert. It was not a good quality culvert like they make today. The culvert that we would replace it with would not collapse like that. But what happened over the years, and I'm going to guess it's been in there for 30 years, it simply collapsed in on itself. All right? And so one of the neighbors there developed a large sinkhole in his backyard. And so we went up and we filled that hole once with dirt. That entire amount of dirt has now gone away again. And so this gentleman has a hole in his backyard that's probably big enough to put a Volkswagen in. And so we ran the camera from both ends of this drain pipe so that we could determine what would be the best plan of action for this. So this is the top half, and this is the bottom. This is where it exits out. This is where it exits out onto Rosemar Road. It is completely filled with debris from over the years. You know, it is all washed down, and so that end of it is blocked. All right, so those are the actual pictures that we took off of our sewer camera.
Was the seam at the top of it?
Yes, sir.
That shouldn't have been there.
Well, my guess is it was put in by the developer.
Yes.
Okay.
Take the seam at the top.
And some of this area is under 12 foot of dirt, Tom. It's got a considerable amount on it. But anyway, the reason why this is on here is Mr. Skogstad drew up the language for this, and it's really not a donation of real property. We're not taking these people's property, but in order for us to go in and replace this line, we have to have right of way to get in it, and we have to have access to put our equipment in. So what we will do is we will replace this storm line from Rosemar Road up to the top of this. And, the pipe that we'll put in will last, 50 years. But at any rate, it's a very large safety hazard for the gentleman that owns the home. Because like I say, he's got a hole in his backyard. It's probably, as I said, it's probably big enough to put a Volkswagen in. All right. And so the resolution we're doing this evening is simply to allow us to go to these three homeowners, get a right of way so that we can take our equipment on their property and replace this storm drain. All right. So it's routine maintenance for the city. It's not part of the 5-year plan. If the sinkhole hadn't developed, we probably would never have known it was there. All right.
Is that the first three houses going up Rosemar Road?
On the right.
Fremont,
It
on
is.
the right?
Yeah, on the right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I've read the resolution now, so let me do it again, and then the resolution accepting a donation of real property, 3 rights of way for a storm line replacement at 1609, 1611, and 1613 Greenmont Hills Drive. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Is there any further discussion?
Is the right-of-way, I don't know how these work, is it temporary or is it a permanent thing? And is there anything that would concern the homeowners?
It is a
in-
permanent right of way.
These are permanent, and what that does is it allows the city at some point in the future to go in and maintain it,
Oh, okay.
repair it, fix it, and what have you.
Yeah. But once we put it in there and the yard's put back, seeded in grass, chances are we won't be back for a long, long time to ever even do it because we have the ability to run the camera from both ends to look at it and see what condition it's in. So, any further discussion? All right, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the resolution accepting a donation of real property, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. The last item on our agenda is a resolution requiring masks to be worn at all public meetings for the city of Vienna whenever Wood County is designated as red by the West Virginia DHHR for COVID-19 infection rate or % positivity, regardless of vaccination status. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna as set out on West Virginia COVID-19 website and map located at https DHHR.wv.gov COVID-19 pages default ASPX. Whenever the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources assigns Wood County the color red based upon COVID-19 infection rate or % positivity, all in-person meeting participants and attendees for any City of Vienna public meeting shall appropriately wear a mask regardless of vaccination status. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of this resolution I'll entertain a motion for the approval of this resolution requiring masks to be worn at all public meetings.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution requiring masks to be worn. Is there any discussion?
Yes. We've been at this whole COVID thing now for, about 19 months or so. And I think we're at a point where there's a lot of misunderstanding and there's a lot of miscommunications about, particularly about masking and vaccine. And, you know, I support the vaccine. I've been vaccinated and I support it and I recommend it. And as far as the masks are concerned, you know, you don't know who to listen to. I don't trust the CDC. I'm not going to listen to the Biden administration. And I'm certainly not going to trust Dr. Flip-Flop Fauci, who doesn't have a clue and has lied to Congress about gain-of-function research. So there's all kinds of issues here, but and I'll finish up. For all these months, everyone has heard what to do, what not to do, the do's and the don'ts. I think it's high time now that it has become an individual decision. There's vaccination and masking. It should be up to the individual. I'm not going to vote for this. But I do feel if you want to wear a mask, by all means wear a mask. You have every right to wear a mask. But I don't think and in fact I don't believe this council should be getting into a situation where we start mandating masks to anybody. You know, I'm sure everyone has done their research. And like I said, if you want to wear a mask, I 100% support you. Wear it. But if you choose not to, I don't feel I have the right to tell you you must. And I feel the same way, although as sincere as I am, even in the vaccines, and how important I think that is. You know, there's a lot of people who you know, is choosing not to get the vaccine. I don't understand that. Personally, I don't understand it, but that's their decision. That's their decision, in my opinion. And I feel the same way with the mask as it relates to this resolution. For those reasons, I'm not going to vote for it.
Okay. Go ahead. No, please, you go first.
So does this, like Brenda had mentioned, is there any expectation also for the employees? You know, as long as you're on city property, are we regulating them also? Like during work hours, employees, regardless of vaccination status, must also wear masks? Is that might already be happening? I don't know, but I kind of think it should be consistent. It should apply to everybody across the board, whatever is decided.
Well, let me tell you the policy that I have stood by, and I've not wavered one bit on this. Neither the governor nor the CDC has issued a mask mandate. We have supplied masks and the guard shields and everything else and ask all of our employees to social distance. There are some jobs where you absolutely cannot do it simply because there's no way to social distance when you're repairing a sewer line or repairing a water line. It just doesn't work. And so until the governor or the CDC issues a mandate that says that employees or meetings or anyone has to wear a mask, I am not going to impose that on either the meetings or our citizens or our employees, because I'm certainly not an expert, and I do trust that all the information that's out there, it is an individual's choice. If you want to wear a mask, please, by all means, wear it all the time. I see people driving in their cars by themselves with masks on. If that's how you choose to do it, please, I'll never say a word. You do whatever you want. But I do believe that from a standpoint of the city, that it is an individual thing, that until the rules change and the governor or the CDC says that we are required to wear masks, I am going to leave it in place as it is. I don't see how that we can become the mask police. And, you know, if a person comes into, and I've seen it a lot, where a person goes into an area, they have a mask on, the next thing you know, the mask's down around their neck or it's, down here. Well, that defeats the purpose of that. But if you insist on wearing a mask, please, do it at all times that you're comfortable with. But that's my opinion on it. And, I look for, guidance from the higher authorities than just here. And our local health department, takes their guidance from the CDC and those folks, and they've not issued a mask mandate. So as far as that goes, I intend to go with what's in place now.
Okay, so I had this resolution put on the agenda this evening. Everybody needs to take a deep breath. I'm not asking for a mask mandate throughout the city and employees and all that. What I'm asking for is just for everybody to wear a mask while we're in these meetings and while we go to other meetings throughout the city. I attend several meetings every month because we did this all last year. It's not a big deal to wear a mask for an hour or so while you're in a public meeting. I know of people who aren't coming to meetings right now because people aren't wearing a mask. And while I realize that sometimes the information out there is confusing, it is
That's their choice.
Roger, please let him
I'm
speak.
sorry. I apologize.
Okay. While the information can be confusing for some, it is recommended when we have a high infection rate or high rates of transmission, which we currently do in Wood County, we are red, that people wear masks, whether they're vaccinated or not, because when two people wear a mask, that's when it's most effective, okay? So when I had this resolution written, I specifically put in there, as long as the county is red according to the DHHR Corona website, okay? So I think it's very, it is not a big deal. I don't understand why this is everybody's hill to die on. I'm the first person who believes in, my body, my right, okay? I'm not going to tell other people what to do, but I'm also respectful of other people. I don't go into a restaurant without my shoes on, I wear a shirt when I go out places. I mean, we do things all the time because it's for the greater good of everybody. For 1 hour or so for us to wear a mask to help potentially protect other people, to me, shows that you are a caring, empathetic person. Also, I don't like the fact that I do know of people who don't attend the government meetings because they don't want to be around a bunch of people not wearing masks. And so I think as somebody who's an elected official, it's my responsibility to try to accommodate people and to take barriers away when we're creating barriers. So that's why I asked for this to be on the agenda.
And we do live stream the meeting so that anyone that wants to keep up with the current events can do that. If you're uncomfortable being in a group setting, by all means, watch the live stream.
Absolutely, but that doesn't give you an opportunity to address council if you have an issue that you would like to come to public forum.
You'd be surprised, the people that watch these things, that send in requests and questions and what have you. There are other ways to do that. And some people really aren't comfortable speaking in a public forum, but, they're always available to, send a letter, send an email, whatever. And those concerns are always addressed. So,
Mayor, if I may.
yes, sir.
Just recently, within the last week or so, the legislature passed House Bill, I believe it's 335 or 355, that the governor has signed. It's not in effect now. I don't believe it goes into effect until 90 days after approval. But if not mistaken, I've not been able to look into it thoroughly, but I believe, and Russ, maybe you might know, or Randy, I believe it addresses the issues of mask and puts some kind of legitimate boundaries on requiring masks. I believe it's in, yeah.
Religion.
Like I said, I'm not totally familiar with the bill, but I'm not sure that would be, even whether anything in that bill, and Kim, maybe you might know, whether there's anything in that bill that would affect what we're discussing.
I'm not familiar with that bill.
Yeah.
I find it kind of humorous to me that we talk about local control and we, if you're looking for Charleston to come up with an answer, that's not going to happen. So this was a very simple request that just out of respect for each other as citizens of Vienna, that we can wear a mask for an hour during a public meeting. It's really simple, and it's only based upon the fact that when we have really high infection rates, which we do right now in Wood County, we are in red. If we're in orange, hey, don't wear a mask. We're in green, don't wear a mask, whatever. But I think when we are at a point where we are at such high rates, then, I don't think it's a big deal.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the resolution requiring masks to be worn at all public meetings for the city of Vienna whenever Wood County is designated as red by the West Virginia DHHR for COVID-19 infection rate or percent positivity regardless of vaccination status, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. It fails 1 to 5. That concludes our agenda for this evening. I have some brief comments that I'd like to make, but I can do mine last. Council comments this evening.
I do, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's come to my attention that the resolution that we passed regarding the incentive program, the vaccination incentive program, did not include our firefighters. The mayor and I have had a little bit of correspondence, not much back and forth on this, but I believe it should. I think that the same, they should be given the same opportunity that the city employees are given, and so I don't know. I have no idea who's been vaccinated and who's not been vaccinated. Don't have a clue. Don't know exactly who or how many would even take advantage of that if it was offered to them. But I would like to put forth, bring forth a resolution for the next council meeting to include our firefighters in that program.
All right. Mr. Scoggs, would you draft that, please? I'll draft it. All right, sir. Any other council comments this evening? Yes, sir, Tom?
I'd like to read something from Tony Tiano. Is that it?
Yeah. Would you speak into your microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Hi, the city of Vienna has been awarded a $53,000 grant to purchase 21 Microsoft Surface Pro 7 tablets and accessories. Details of documents will be forthcoming. As I understand it, this piece of equipment will be in each cruiser car.
We were awarded 21 brand-new Surface Pro laptops for the 21 cruisers that we have, and it is a grant from Homeland Security. So congratulations, Tom, to you and your department. Okay?
How much was it for again? What was the dollar amount?
$53,093.
And we also were awarded $2,500 for bulletproof vests. Am I correct on that, Adam? Yes, $2,500 for bulletproof vests.
How many will that buy?
I don't know. It won't buy very many because they're expensive.
I think the average is between 350 to 400 pieces.
Yeah,
We'll buy about 8.
yep. But that's a separate grant, which we got it about a week ago. But anyway, $53,000 is fantastic. So
Like if 8 came out to $2,600, would the city be willing to kick in the $100?
absolutely. Yep,
Thank
yep. Any other comments this evening?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir, Jim.
So sometime in this term, I made a motion to move our meetings to 6 o'clock, and I've mentioned a couple of times that I missed the siren at 6 o'clock. And I never really put it forward till now, and I look at Mike's chair. And I'd like to move that we change our siren to 6 o'clock and dedicate it to the Mike Elam call to meeting. and we put something up to reflect that. I'd like to have that as a resolution at our next meeting.
All right, I'll get with Chief Scholl and make sure that we can do that with 911 and what have you. We'll just have to go through the procedure.
If it doesn't get moved to 6, I still have the remaining.
It's a very easy process. out
Okay,
there
well,
to
that's right.
do,
Yeah, you're
so,
the expert.
but-
I should have asked you. Jiminy. Okay. Gosh, I wasn't going to do this, but since you did,
It's tough.
yeah. At, you know, having sat up here in this chair for the last 5 years with Mike, I thought I knew him. But when we had the funeral service the other day, I learned more about Mike Elam and his quality and his character than I did in 5 years. And I feel really bad about that because I'd been around Mike my whole life, played football, you know, on the same team that he did at different years and knew the spirit that he had. But until sitting there and listening to all of his friends and all of the stories and boy, I'll tell you what, I left a lot on the table by not spending more time with Mike Elam because he was a very interesting man and a quality man. And I just, you know, it's my fault. I sat here for 5 years and didn't take the time to get to know Mike better than I did. And I regret that deeply. And, you know, it's just something that you, as all members of this council and all members of our citizens, we need to take the time to learn more about the people that are here. And I regret that deeply. I'm sorry, Melissa, I wasn't going to say those things, but honest to goodness, listening to that roommate of his, I'm telling you, I laughed my head off. Okay. But I had no idea the deep faith that Mike had. I didn't, you know, and a lot of times we butted heads and, you know, what have you, but Mike always came back with a smile. I mean, golly knows. All right. So I'm sorry. I have 3 announcements that I'd like to make this evening. Due to Thanksgiving, due to Veterans Day, we're going to move city council meeting to Wednesday, November the 10th. It will be at 6 o'clock. Veterans Day is November the 11th. And I'd like to invite you all to come to the Veterans Day ceremony that will take place on November the 11th at 12 p.m. at Spencer's Landing. It should be a really nice program. And the last item that I have is Trick or Treat will be Saturday, October the 30th, 2021 from 6 to 7:30. There's some inclement weather on the forecast, so please use your best judgment as to whether or not you want to send your kids out if the weather is bad. But anyway, Trick or Treat will be Saturday from 6 to 7:30. With that,
Randy,
Could
go ahead.
could you briefly mention the trunk or treat
oh gosh, I
last
didn't know to do
night?
that. Thank you.
If you would, please, because that was amazing, so.
Last night at Spencer's Landing, the Fraternal Order of Police hosted a trunk or treat at Spencer's Landing. I had never been to a trunk or treat before and really didn't know how they work. They had over 50 vendors. And when I say vendors, that means people with cars that opened their trunks up, filled them with candy, decorated them, and entertained hundreds of people. It is absolutely one of the best events I have ever personally attended. And I guess I'm, you know, partial to this, but it just felt like Vienna. I mean, when you got down there, it was everybody was a friend. Nobody got in a hurry. It was just absolutely terrific. And those kind of evenings are just rare. And, you know, good job to Mike Pfeiffer, who was in charge of this. And, you know, the fire department helped out. The police department helped out. The Friends of Vienna helped out with traffic control and all the other things. It was absolutely 2 of the best hours that I've ever taken part in. And, you know, it was fantastic. It really was. So, yes, sir.
I had something real quick. Mr. Mancuso, and you're aware, Jackson's doing a PBL thing, it's project-based learning, and they're a project at Spencer's Landing. I wanted to invite you guys up on Fridays, particularly in the mornings, to come around and check these classrooms out, because they're working on projects for Spencer Landing, but these kids are, I mean, they're going all out. And I know you guys are going to be presenting stuff, but I'd like for you just to come up and just walk around and just see the faces and how they light up. I mean, it's been incredible, and rewarding, because that is the future of this town. And, you know, Mr. Mancuso got to experience that last week, and I just invite you guys to come up and tour, call me, I'll get you in, and we'll just tour, and we'll go in these classrooms and listen to these kids, and how excited they are with this project, and I just want to thank you guys for coming up with something like that.
Is that tomorrow?
They're actually not going tomorrow. The next Friday had to.
A week from tomorrow.
Yeah, they're doing Halloween costumes tomorrow, so it's gonna be chaos.
What's the best time?
Morning is the best time, about 8:30. That's when the eighth graders are just, they're diving in. I mean, some of these concepts are incredible. I mean, from utilities to activities to, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, just to hear them pitch it and talk about it, I'm there every day. You know, conversations in the hallways are a little awkward sometimes. But when the kids are walking from class to class or from session to session on Fridays and they're talking about, hey, did you hear what this group has? Did you hear what they want to do here? It's really, really rewarding. And I would strongly encourage you guys to come up and check it out.
They really have taken ownership of this thing. I think we're going to get some fantastic results, because I know we've engaged them. I think it's going to be great.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Randy,
Melissa, take us home.
Sorry. I have a lot of people to thank. It's been a difficult past couple months. We didn't see things going here. But I will tell you this. As much as Mike will be missed, I'm happy for him. There were times when we all get in a funk, right? There's a lot of going on in the world, and we worry about stuff, and things aren't the way we want them to be or whatever. Let me tell you what he is now. He is satisfied. There isn't anything that he wants for anymore. He doesn't have a wish list anymore. He doesn't have a bucket list anymore. He has fully realized the awesome reward of his faith in God. Mike was not a perfect man, but he did get some things right. And one of the things that he got right was making sure that he didn't have any sin debt when he got in front of God. He didn't owe a thing. And that is what I hope for each of you. This may not be real cool government-wise, I don't know. I don't really care at this point. But that is where our hope is. And that is why the boys and I are having some good days. That sorrow is still there. We will have hard days, and they'll hit us out of nowhere, I'm sure. But I have reminded them that if any of you attended the funeral or happened to watch it, our nephew made a comment that keeps rolling in my mind. He said, a lot of people talk about, gone too soon or, something like that. And he said, no, but when Mike stood before God at 1:08 p.m., God said, welcome home, you're right on time. And I believe that with all my heart. And if God had a plan to take Mike home then, I know he had a plan for the three of us. He didn't say, oh gosh, family, what am I going to do with them, right? He had a plan for us too. And I've challenged the boys, and they are accepting it to trust that plan and to be excited about it and say, okay, Lord, what's next? And so I am very grateful, first to those who have been taking care of things in my absence. I don't know who has been doing it. I know Amy Roberts has helped. I'm sure Teresa has helped. But you guys just told me don't worry about it. And that's hard for me because I want to do it right and I want to be there and I want to be dependable. But you guys have carried my burden for me so I didn't have to worry about it, and I appreciate that. We have a great community here. We have a great church family. People who have neighbors on our street are like family, mowing our grass and helping us with projects and bringing us meals and just offering to help in any way possible. And so we are humbled and grateful, and that's not a bad place to be. So I may not have it all together as much as I used to, or maybe it was all a ruse and I didn't really have it together and now it's all exposed. I don't know, but I'm going to keep trying my best, and I'm going to keep serving. That's what I believe I'm called to do. And so you're stuck with me. And I know that Mike could be a pain. He was a pain to me too. I know we'll miss the fights, right? But truly, he was a great guy, and we're gonna miss him. And all of this is crazy because, I've had some people, tell me that Mike knew everybody. No, really, I think he did. Because, everybody has shown up and everybody has contacted us. And people who didn't know that they knew him too have caught each other talking about him, and had quite an influence. And so I hope that we can each also learn from that. People are watching. They're watching your life at all times, whether you're in public service or not. You have a sphere of influence, and my hope is that you will use it to bless the people in your life and to be a positive contributor to whatever is going on, and to serve something bigger than yourself. So I love you all, and I thank you for walking through this with us. So anyway.
We'll get through this. All right?
Thanks.
Meeting adjourned.